What is going on, guys? Jack here, and welcome back to episode 31 of Lyon Live here in Football Manager 2019. If you've missed the last few episodes, it's been pretty action-packed. Lots of kind of potential transfers going on. Of course, last episode we fended off a few bids on a few very, very good players, and we reunited with a hometown hero, William Gabels. He's in the van, he's joined the club, got a goal on his debut as well against Monaco, his former side. And, you can see here, last episode was okay until the last game against Lille, where we got beaten 2-1 against the run of play. It was pretty disappointing. You can see here kind of how the game looked in terms of focus of attack. If we look at match stats, I mean, they were just more clinical. Fair play to them. They hit us on the break. Really showed that they're not kind of fluking things by being as high as they are in the league. Anyway, today to start things off, we've actually got the semi-final of the Coupe de la Ligue, and it's going to be against PSG. A very, very difficult game, this one. There are still a few days left of the transfer window. We do still have a little bit of money. £10 million to spend and about £60,000 in the wage budget. Now, is there anyone who immediately I'm desperate to sign? Probably not. That's realistically within our budget. There are players here who, when you scroll through, you think, oh, that would be a good addition. But the reality is £10 million in modern football really isn't that much. Anyway, before we get into the game against PSG, I do want to do something really quickly. And the thing I want to do is sort out our team kind of squad statuses, because we have a few players who I think are probably listed as key players who aren't necessarily key players anymore. So if we just set things up here, you can obviously, we have our squad statuses on my team profile view. For those of you who have never seen this view before, it's one of my favourite ones that I have. It's one that I'll fairly frequently use when I first kind of come to a new team. Here I can basically see who is where in the hierarchy, the overall squad personality, who's in what social group, the kind of current morale situation, some what I'd consider essential stats, that you can sometimes use just to weigh up how valuable a player is in the first team, and also just some mentals that I like to have fairly good across the board. You can see with our team we've got some players with exceptional mentals, and particularly Dembele and Toussaint, two players who I very much see as players for the long-term future, right up there with particularly good mentals. Anyway, as I said, I want to look at the squad statuses here. So if we sort things out, sorting by key, you can see Ferland Mendy, who recently signed a new contract. His squad status is set to key. I'm going to lower that to first team. I'm just wondering if there's anyone else here listed as a first team player who shouldn't be. Pereira, actually, we mistakenly, when we renewed his loan, upped him in squad status from a backup to a first team player, so we'll change that back. Our almost certainly a first team player. To be honest, looking at things here, it actually doesn't look as bad as I was expecting it to look. If we sort by minutes played, perhaps in reverse, you can see obviously we have players like Keane and Gabels who have just joined the club, who have, well, so far not played a great deal of football. You can see here, for example, Rashford should probably have his status lowered. It doesn't really matter so much, I feel like, for players you've loaned in, but certainly more so for, well, just the players who are part of your team. You don't want to have anyone set to be, a role that they're not. Very often the squad status is what determines a player's kind of satisfaction when it comes to their first team football. As someone who's listed as a key player expects to play every game. The only risk I've got here really is the fact that Aouar is currently set as a first team player. The reality being that he's more of a rotation, at least right now. That might just help him from getting too upset about his kind of lack of first team football. But no, across the board, we're in a very, very good situation with our current squad. Of course, our first team is not the smallest by any means. A lot of younger players in here as well, though, when you look at the actual team. But then as soon as you start looking at the reserves and you start looking at, some of these other players here, you realise that actually this is a team with crazy depth. Now, obviously, a lot of these players are players who have been made available for the reserves who also play in the first team. Thinking about it, Trincao, you probably don't need to be available for the reserves anymore. Probably don't need to get you playing too much extra football. But you've got players obviously like Cornet, who I did actually offer out last episode. I kind of did it without explaining my rationale, but basically, I just don't think he's good enough for us. He's not done that well on loan at Nice rather. Obviously, you can see here players like Shadas, Ferreira, both looking very, very good right now. Shadas has improved a lot on loan at Nîmes. Particularly interested to see if this guy can maintain his development. And, Ferreira, who did have a little bit of an injury lately, has been in fine form for Sochaux. Very, very excited to kind of see how he might develop in this second half of the season. And, well, across the board, we've got lots of players with development that I'm hoping we're really going to see come to fruition during this year. Anyway, let's get into the game against PSG. It's a big game for us. In terms of our team, obviously I switched here to our kind of quote-unquote best 11. You can see we are having a few issues when it comes to injuries. Bertrand Traoré is still out, so Trincão's going to have to come in for him. That is going to free up a spot for Moise Kean on the bench. Elsewhere here, you can see Trincão actually doesn't have a great deal of fitness either. So I might want to shuffle things around a little more here than I first wanted to. Let's go back to our simpler squad view here, just because it's easier to pick things out. So we'll bring in Saint-Maximin for Trincão, out on the right-hand side. Toussaint's fitness is not ideal. Probably fit enough for the bench. His fitness test, he actually could play the whole game, but 91% condition, that match sharpness, I'm not willing to take the risk there, so we'll have him on the bench. Gabels, we're going to start here, I think. Obviously, he got a goal on his debut. That second game wasn't so great, but getting the goal against Monaco was huge. And I'm going to stick my faith with him. Of course, we've got both Moise Kean and Martinez on the bench. I did notice, actually, in the YouTube comments of yesterday's video, people telling me, between DJ, Gabels, and Moise Kean, you've kind of got a really solid striker setup for the future. Completely agree with you. 3 top-notch strikers. And a lot of people will say, why don't you just drop Martinez? And the reason I'm not going to drop Martinez and I'm going to kind of keep him in the team and on the bench is because he has scored 7 goals this year. And whilst, obviously, DJ's now gone out on loan and we do have Moise Kean and Gabels, none of them are proven goal scorers. Now, Martinez, I know he had an awful year last year, but this year so far, playing second fiddle to Dembele, who, of course, we've sold on, he's proven his worth, I think, as a player who will get goals for us, having got 7. It just feels way too risky to shuffle him on, move him on, sell him, demote him to the reserves, whatever you guys were thinking I should do with him, when he is just a proven threat. Anyway, we might have a chance here. Memphis looked like he put a little nudge in the back. Now PSG on the counter. Of course, we are the reigning champions of this competition. This is the semi-final, but it's going to be tricky against PSG. And, well, you can't really leave Mbappe free in the box like that, can you? Disappointing. We are playing the direct attacking style of play here, it's dawned on me. I mean, it held up okay for the first 30 minutes. We are going to VAR here. Is it going to be upheld, the goal, or is it going to be ruled out? It's going to be upheld. I didn't think it was offside. We've been hit on the counter there from a set piece, so I almost don't feel that that's a tactical issue. They've had a few more chances created. What has possession been like in the game so far? They've had 64% of it. You know what? We are going to switch to the 4-5-1, I think. Just the way things are playing out right now, I'm not too happy with it. Obviously, we're a team that's pretty good at switching to this system. We can do an okay job with it. My only concern, actually, and it might feel like an odd one, is basically that both of our wide attacking players are already on bookings. And these are players that when you play kind of pressing systems like the one we're using today, they can sometimes just get sent off. But at the same time, I feel like I'm looking more at that centre midfield battle. We're going to need to try and contain the likes of Verratti and Rabiot. Anyway, immediately another highlight. So this is either going to be a stroke of genius to change systems or it's going to backfire. It's going to be Saint-Maximin. What a run that is. Can he finish it? He can't. Trap in goal for them. Stops it. I mean, we've got a lot of bookings. A concerningly large amount of bookings to the point where I almost don't want to continue playing the pressing system because of it. Jeez. I mean, 5 yellow cards in the first half. I'm going to change the system. I don't know, that's going to seem weird. I don't feel comfortable continuing to press all game, given what's happened in this first half of all the bookings. So I'm actually going to try and switch to the possession-orientated system. Now, this might seem really odd to some people. Why would you switch to this? My thinking basically is that at the moment we're struggling to have the ball. We are chasing shadows. I want us in the second half to go out there with kind of a fresh state of mind. I want us to try and seize possession a little bit more. And just hopefully that's going to help us in this game because we've not really been able to get a foot on the ball. We've not really been able to create a great deal. And I can try and rely on hitting them on the counter or, pressing them into a mistake. But the reality is that I want to, I think, have the ball and try and make a difference ourselves. Additionally, and it kind of sounds obvious when I state it, but you're less likely to get yellow cards when you have possession. You know, if you're the team in control of the ball, you're not having to commit the same amount of fouls. But, well, we'll see if that gets taken to the test as Verratti has an effort from range. The keeper seemed convinced it was going over. I had my heart in my mouth for a second. I'm also going to shout and demand more from the players. Immediately we have a highlight. So, has the demand more worked, or have I just, like, upset the players and now we're going to concede? We're about to find out. Rabiot to Verratti. He switches the play to Dani Alves, committing very high up the pitch here. Crosses it in. Mbappe, free header. Wallace and Lenglet there, just between them. No one actually challenged for their header, and it's relatively routine, isn't it, at the end of the day there. Verratti with the ball dinked over. Who is that? Number 11. Is that Saint Maximin? No, it's going to be Depay, right? I'm pretty sure that's Depay. Yeah, it is. Just didn't track back with his man. Gave up. Didn't care. Right, let's make some tactical changes. We need 2 goals. So with that in mind, I'm going to go to the direct attacking style of play. Ironic that I'm kind of just switching between all our systems, but I feel like at this point we have to do it. I am going to bring in Moise Kean up top, Trincao out on the right, and Aouar out on the left. We're bringing in the youth after 55 minutes. We're bringing in the young'uns. They're going to come out there and give a hungry performance. I believe in them. We've got a set piece here. Fekir to the edge of the box to Romero. Scored a wonder goal last episode, which if you missed, I mean, there were some cracking goals last episode. Moise Kean back wide to Fekir. Can we find the breakthrough? Moise Kean tries to win the header. Do I want to label Moise Kean as record transfer Moise Kean whenever he gets the ball? I feel like I should be, just to add the pressure on his shoulders. I mean, record transfer Moise Kean lurking in the middle, still looking for his first senior goal. Wallace to Lucas Romero. Lovely build-up play here. Fekir might have a go. Hits the woodwork. Can we get the rebound? Aouar can't beat Dani Alves in a foot race there. I mean, one good bit of news is the fact that all of PSG's defence are booked. So that's going to work okay for us. Also worth noting that with the subs, we did take off a fair few players who were on bookings themselves. Neymar, edge of the box to Bentancur. Oh my god, that is just so unfortunate. I don't think this is going to be ruled out for offside. We're going to VAR. I think it's been disallowed. What's that been disallowed for? He looked onside. He wasn't onside. I take it all back. Great decision, VAR. Now we have a set piece. Fekir whips in. Wallace is there. He's not there. He's not there. Trapp is collecting it. I just assume, with all Wallace's back post headers, that when the ball flies towards the back post, Wallace is going to get on the end of it. It's just kind of become his thing. I will say, this year compared to last year, his potency from set pieces really has fizzled out. Last year he was top draw. This year he's been lacking. Oh my gosh. Rabiot. Lopez. I mean, not the most convincing of goalkeeping. I'm going to be honest, by the Portuguese man between the sticks. Verratti here, whips it back post. I mean, Lopez, that's better. He's learnt to catch everyone. I don't know why he couldn't do that with the first effort. Right, we have 8 minutes left. Excuse me. I'm just going to slowly die in the background. If we get a goal here, it's going to be a nervy last 5 minutes for PSG, but we need a goal now. We're 2 goals behind. We're pressing so high up. Force a mistake, though, here. Fekir, don't shoot. Don't shoot. Are we maybe going to VAR for a penalty here? I mean, that did not look like a penalty. I'm not going to complain. Fekir, score. Make it squeaky bum time for PSG. What can you do, my friend? He steps up, he hits it. Right, it's 2-1. I mean, I'm going to be honest. Didn't look like a penalty. I'm just going to... VAR gave it, so I have to trust that VAR made the right decision. But in 3D at first viewing, didn't look like a pen, did it? It looked like a great tackle by Verratti. Anyway... 2 minutes left. We're already on very attacking. We're kind of all guns blazing at this point. There's not a great deal more I can do. I guess I can do one last demand more shout with 3.5 minutes left, but I can't see it amounting to a lot. PSG look like on the day they're going to take the victory. It was a hard-fought game. They had 6 half chances, which is a little bit crazy. They didn't take that many of them, but unfortunately for us, we just lacked a little in this game. Not a good result as far as we're concerned. We're not going to retain our title. It was always going to be tricky away from home against PSG. 2-1, I don't feel like it's a bad performance. We've got to consider the fact they spent £200 million on 4 players in the summer. The fact we're above them in the league is a little bit of a miracle in a lot of ways. It was always going to be tricky. Anyway, Emilio Trincao has handed in a transfer request. He really wants to join us, and I kind of want to sign him. Asking price of 32 million's been agreed. Oh. See, here's the issue. I don't get the 40 million from Dembele's deal until later. Can I give you one instalment later of 30 million? Which will basically be the Dembele money. Yes. I mean, that seems like a pretty good deal. I know we're paying a little over the odds. But it's basically the Dembele money being reinvested. And I know people are going to be like, Jack, you're going in for another centre-back. No. No, I'm not. I'm going in for a player who I think could be a starting right-back ahead of Tete, but can also play centre-mid. Covers a similar area of positions to Lucas Romero. Who, if we can find Romero, I would like to do a direct comparison between. Because, I mean, you can see here, Militao's just better. Better in a lot of ways. Very similar players. They could both do very, very good jobs at centre-mid. But I am actually wondering if Militao at right-back for Tete might be the way we go here. I mean, Tete is very, very good, isn't he? Very, very good. To the point where I almost don't want to lose Tete. We have got Wallace trying to force a move as well. I mean, Wallace is just better defensively. Militao's just a very, very good kind of versatile option. How does he compare to Lenglet? See, he's very... I'd say he's better than Lenglet, but he's not quite as good in the air or quite as good mentally. But he probably is better than Lenglet. But I'm also thinking about the fact that Tete and Wallace want to force moves at this moment in time. I mean, I'm half tempted to offer Wallace out. I think, did we offer him out for 60 million before? Let's offer him out for 60 million again. I doubt anyone's going to nibble at that. But it's worth testing the waters. Right. Edda. Right. You've asked for a bit of silly money there. And I think deep down inside, you know it's silly money. So you are going to have to come back to me. I wonder if we can get in the optional contract extension. We can't. He doesn't want it. Right. I might have ballsed up the negotiations here a little bit. He's very good. And I've ballsed it up. I don't know how to feel about that. He wanted to force the move to join us. I'm now hoping that he sacks his agent, but I just don't see it happening. I didn't really want to pay more than 58,000. I'm now thinking, is he worth it at the price we were going to have to pay? I mean, he is very, very good, isn't he? Very, very good. I mean, we'll keep tabs on him. I feel like he's the kind of player who I'm perhaps more likely to go in for in the summer. When I think about it. I just feel like in the summer, you know, Wallace might try and force a move. Tete might still be trying to get a move out. He could very much be a very good player to bring in. But, I mean, right now we probably don't need him. We probably don't need him. I know there's going to be the anti-centre-back crew. I know you guys exist. I've seen you. I just love my centre-backs, I do. It's annoying that I can't terminate Rashford's loan, isn't it? Because he is eating up a lot of the wage budget. DJ's now on loan in Ligue 2. He didn't have the best debut, did he? We can move him to the reserve team, at least for now. I mean, with my current team, what would I like? Papa Cech, you can move to the reserves. Is there anyone else who's not played this year? A few players, but actually there are a few players who I'm quite keen to keep hold of. Terrier is a weird one, because I know the YouTube comment section, you guys love him. I just don't really have a spot for him in the team right now. I almost want to try and loan him out, but the issue I've got is I can't loan him to anyone in France, because I've hit the loan limit. Which is kind of a problem. I'm just wondering if there's anyone else I could recall from loan who's using up one of those loan out slots. So is it worth just recalling Cornet and then trying to sell him on deadline day? I don't feel like we're gaining a great deal by him going out on loan. I loaned him out for his value to go up and he's just not played that well. And I'm tempted just to try and sell him on. You know what? That is going to be what I do. That might seem a little bit mad, but I'd actually rather have Terrier out on loan. And Lille would be a very good team for him to go out on loan too. Might help them steal a few points away from PSG. And then we need to try and sell Cornet on deadline day. Monty is set to join Sporting for 2.7 million. That's pretty good. We can't do that loan because we're at the domestic loan limit. We can't do this loan because we're at the domestic loan limit. We can't do this loan because we're at the domestic loan limit. I wish there's a way that I could just tell the team, sorry, but we're at the domestic loan limit at this point. I literally can't loan out any more players. I did talk about Rajkovic, didn't I? The Serbian goalkeeper. I'm trying to think how you spell his name. Is it... Can I search Kovic? No, it's not going to come up, is it? He plays for Tel Aviv, if I'm not mistaken. I hope I'm right here. I'm pretty sure he does. Because we were looking at him as a backup goalie, weren't we? And he almost tried to force a move. I mean, he looks like he'd be a very, very solid backup. He's got a minimum release clause of 4.4 million. Which is peanuts, really. The only issue we'd have, potentially, is the fact that we've got Pereira in on loan as a backup. I don't think I can terminate his loan. No, I can't. I mean, he's just going to be a backup for us anyway. Jorgelin has been trying to force a move, and I have promised that he can go. Literally no one wants him, though. Which is somewhat of a problem when players trying to force a move and you can't get rid of him. Rajkovic as well, you can see here, very, very content just to be a backup option. With that in mind, I'm actually going to pay a little bit above and beyond and hope that he'll be happy with it. The reason for doing this is that I kind of think he could be the long-term backup goalkeeper for us here. I'm hoping that, you know, given his low wage demands, he could just be, you know, a top-notch backup goalkeeper for us. He's not in the same ballpark, I don't think, as at Lopez, but at £4.4 million, just to have a very reliable backup goalkeeper who's signing an 8-year contract or a 7.5-year contract just makes a lot of sense. Anyway, we've got more of these loans coming in, where I literally can't send the player out on loan. Which I know isn't going to go down that well, but that's just the reality. So Terry is now going to go out on loan. We are now going to try and get rid of Cornet. That's the next course of action, is can we get rid of Cornet? Where is Cornet? Am I going blind? He's got to be somewhere. Players don't just vanish. Here he is. So, Cornet, my friend. I like you. I don't love you. And it's time to try and get you a move. He was one of the players who was here when we joined. Don't get me wrong, he's not a bad player by any means. But he's just not quite of the calibre of players that we've currently got in our team. And we've got better young prospects in the same positions. So Rajkovic is going to join us for £4.4 million. He was a player who I had my eye on, you might remember, in the summer, and we couldn't quite get the deal across the line. I feel like he really fits our philosophy in a way that Eder Militao doesn't. You know, £4.4 million paid for him is just nothing. No one wants Cornet because of the wage demands. 3.5. At this point, I kind of just want to get rid of him because I think there's a risk that he tries to, well, unsettle everything. And I kind of would like to keep everything in the balance. Obviously, we've also sold Monty for 2.7, so that's half the cost of Drag Rajkovic covered right there on a player who sat in our reserves doing nothing all year. So I'm pretty happy with that. And of course, he came in on a free, did Monty. So yeah, I'm a happy bunny. I wouldn't mind just having a look again at players with contracts expiring. And also players who are transfer listed. You never know. Sometimes deadline day, players try to force through very, very late transfers. Is there anyone here who's particularly excited? I mean, what is happening at Arsenal? Where are Arsenal in the league? They're fourth, but they've got a lot of players trying to force moves right now. You can see they've got 5 players transfer listed. Has Ramsey just not been playing for them? Has he been injured? I mean, curious situation, really. Bakayoko's available from Chelsea. I mean, he'd be a pretty good backup defensive midfielder, wouldn't he? And he's French, which I do kind of like. But then he'd probably come in at the cost of Glenn Kamara, who I also like and is going to have significantly lower wage demands. Well, you can see here, Glenn Kamara is just not the same calibre, but then Bakayoko is going to be on crazy, crazy money that we just can't justify spending. What's the asking price they've got for him? 19 million as well. I mean, he's just out of our budget completely. I'm going to assume I can't ask the board for more budget at this moment in time. Indeed, I cannot. Let's just have another look at players with contracts expiring. I guess we can look at it in a year, although this is going to have a lot of the players who play in China and stuff, which isn't that much of interest to me because their wages are mental. So we'll look at players with contracts expiring in 6 months. Just sort by recommendation. I mean, there's no players that are superly highly tipped. Juan Hernandez is a player with crazy potential who, if we could just get as a free transfer, I'd be very happy with. Jimmy Milner, I mean, it's tempting, but no. Again, I'm kind of looking for those players that fit the philosophy that we've kind of got here of buy low, sell high. Players who I think we can bring in, develop a little bit, and then maybe move on for some money. The reality is that when it comes to players with contracts expiring, you're less likely to find those kind of players because most teams want to keep hold of their slightly younger players. In fact, looking through things here, I'm very, very much underwhelmed at this moment in time. This player here who plays for... I'm not going to try and say this team's name, the Portuguese team, but we've signed a few players from them in the past. I mean, he really doesn't look that bad. His wage demands aren't that crazy either. Plays for the same team we got Monty from. Let's see if we can lower a few things to get him in for cheaper. Probably should get a scout report on him as well. But just on the face of it, he just looks like a very well-rounded centre mid. Who, I don't know, maybe we can move on for some money. Adama Traore is an interesting one. Very interesting one. Because he's not a bad little young player. I don't know what his potential's like this year in FM. He's 24 already, though. He's not exactly young, is he? For some reason, in my head, he was way younger than that. Ezequiel Ponce. Is it Ponce or Ponce? Answers on a postcard. I'm not sure. Alberto Seri. I know there's going to be people in the comment section going mental about the fact that he's available. I don't need more young strikers. Jack, have some control. Have some control, Jack. You can do it. Maybe I can. I don't know. Let's have a look just quickly at transfer listed players, but below 21. There's very rarely players transfer listed at this age anyway, but occasionally you get very, very good ones that you might not have seen, like Vinicius Jr. Okay, I was very, very excited because he was valued at 10 million. He does have an asking price of 63 million. It might be a stumbling block. I'm not going to lie. Might be a stumbling block. At the same time, it's Vinicius bloody Jr. If only I could ask the board. You know, could we just go in for him? It's like Sancho all over again. I'll tell you what, if I was managing PSG, could have got in Jadon Sancho last year, Vinicius Jr. this year. I also realise it's Vinicius, but I don't know why I say it wrong. People have been correcting me about this name forever. I've given up. I'm sorry, everyone. You're pretty good, aren't you, Alvaro Odriozola? That's an interesting name. He's pretty good. Spanish international. I mean, could he be the anti-Moreno on the other wing? Edda's trying to force a move still. I mean, there are some pretty interesting players there. Masonda, as well, was a player who was really hotly tipped for years. I mean, he's 23 now. He's not the wonder kid. He's kind of from that generation with Januzaj, of players who just looked crazily good at one point and then never quite developed. Arana we looked at before. He's currently applying, isn't he, for Spanish nationality. He's the kind of player who, in the summer, could be an interesting option if he gets that nationality through. Dario Di Fabro, no. Just no. Not very good. Obviously, my normal approach here would be, if I had attribute masking off, is I would just select all these players and then just mass scout them all. And you know, I would have done this all sooner. But we're playing with attribute masking off just because otherwise we'd be here for 10 times longer than I'm already here looking at players. And I'm already conscious about it sometimes dragging on a little bit. Oh, Vinicius Jr. would be good, wouldn't he? He would be very good. But he's just not in our budget. I wonder if we could do a deal factoring in for the fact that we've got the Dembele deal going on. But his wages are also going to be mental. But it's Vinicius Jr. Let's try something over a long period of time. So what I'm going to do here is instalments, 6 months, 1 instalment. I'll give you 40 million after 6 months. And then over the next 3 years, I'll pay you 20. So I'll give you 7 million a year. And any profit, because the chances are we're never going to sell him on for profit, signing him for 60 million, although it's possible. How about something like that? And except, see, I knew that was going to be the answer. I prepared myself for that. Do I really want to break the entire club budget to sign him? I kind of do. Trial by fire and all that, you know, just wreck everything. Okay, it's not happening, folks. It's not happening. Maybe he can kick up a fuss. Maybe. But I don't think it's going to happen. Oh, I'd love to sign him, but he's just not there. He's just not there. I mean, we've got 8 hours left of the transfer window. It could still happen. All these loan offers for Cornet make no sense. I can't loan out any more players to French teams. I'm sorry. Please go away. I don't really want to reject all loan offers on these players because there's some of these players who I might want to loan out next year as well. No one wants Cornet. Have I got any more promises that I need to keep here? Oh, gosh. I've made a lot of promises. So, Papacek wants to be sold. Martinez doesn't want to be sold. Fekir wants to be sold if the right offer comes in, and it hasn't. Moreno just doesn't want to leave, and we've told him he won't leave. So, it's really Papacek here who I need to find a move for. Our backup keeper, Georgian here, he is homegrown. So, for that reason, he does have a little bit of value to me to register for kind of, you know, the Champions League and such. If we just look at this. So we had 4 players registered who are homegrown, including him, when we last registered our side. But we have just signed Gabels, who, if I'm not mistaken, he's homegrown at club, I think. Don't know if he counts as homegrown. It says he was trained at us, but I don't think that's actually counted him as homegrown. So with that in mind, I kind of do need to keep hold of Gabels, at least in the immediate future. Not Gabels, sorry, our backup goalkeeper, Georgian. Martinez could be leaving. I'm going to say if there's the appropriate interest, he could go. But I don't think he will. No one wants Papacek. I mean, does the £8 million here need to burn a hole in my pocket? And the answer is no, not really. Although I am just sat here thinking, is there a way I can get the Vicinius Jr. deal done? Francisco Ramos, consistent, important match player. He would be, whereabouts are you in this list of centre mids? 5th best centre mid. He's comparable to Papacek. I mean, Papacek's probably better, but we are just signing him for free for £9,000 a week as a backup. It'll just sit in the reserves and we'll do what we did with Monty and try and move him on for some money half a year later. I can't loan out players. I mean, I'm sorry, because you guys are probably going to now be laying in bed at night thinking about the fact of me saying I can't loan out these players, but that is kind of just how I feel. We could sign Ramos now for 800,000. It's not something we need to do right now. Not something we need to do right now, but it's just a loan deal that makes sense. Busy deadline day, at least for us. It seems like the rest of the league hasn't been so busy on deadline day, to be fair. I mean, we've only sold 1 player and bought in 1 player. It's not exactly like we've thrown around crazy money. Oh, Vinicius Jr. I'm saying it properly now, I hope. If I repeat it enough, eventually I'll just start saying it correctly. Oh, I'd love to sign him. But alas, it's just not going to work out today. Ferreira, back from injury, only played 7 minutes, but good to see him building up some match fitness. Trincao, doing well in training again. I mean, when is he not doing well in training? Also, dribbling's gone yellow. That's a good sign. There's a lot of 14s and 15s on this lad. You know, give it 2 years, there's going to be a lot more yellow, I imagine, on his profile. Olmo also doing exceptionally well in training. Yes, Olmo. This is what I want to see. We have perhaps too many good attacking midfielders. That's actually my main concern right now, is how am I going to get in players like Olmo, Mario Ferreira, Shadas as well. You know, these are all players who have performed well. It's not a bad problem to be in. It just might be a situation where we perhaps do look to sell on one or two of our hot prospects who I don't perhaps rate quite as highly as our others. You can see here, we were the big spenders with £65 million spent, but we recouped more than that in sales between the Monty sale and the Dembele sale. It's kind of interesting, obviously. We sold Dembele here for £63 million, and then basically 2 replacements. We've got in Moise Kean, player with a lot of potential for the future, really like the look of him, and William Gabels as well. So I feel like between those 2 guys, we've got 2 very good players. I'm actually wondering if Rashford could be a pretty good mentor for them. I think he would be. I don't know actually if his mentorship stuff's going to be good enough. Let's take a look. So if we just look at mentoring here, obviously I've not touched this in a little while, so you can see it's all got a little bit butchered. Dembele, Martinez is fairly determined. Let's add some players to this. So Gabels, Keane and Rashford. Rashford has 17 determination. Moise Kean actually apparently doesn't have that bigger an influence on the group, which kind of surprises me. Trincão's already got 30 professional. I mean, to be honest, the personalities in the squad are largely good. It's actually a really good situation to be in. What I'd love actually is next year when we have stuff like Kanate back, Lenglet could be a really good tutor for them with Perfectionist. It's a shame his determination isn't a tiny bit better, but it's still pretty solid. But yeah, for Gabels here, you know, he is on 14 determination. I think Moise Kean's on 14 as well. 15 for him. Rashford and Martinez are on 17 and 16 each. So that kind of makes sense. Our has been under Dembele's leadership. Dembele has 16 determination. What's our up to? 16. Depay, 14. I mean, I can't see Depay getting that much from being part of this group at this point. I just wonder if maybe putting someone like Trincão might be worth it in this group. Potentially. Get his determination up a little bit. You know what? I think that actually makes a lot of sense. I'm hoping it won't have too much of an impact on his professionalism, because that is something I quite like in him. But his determination could be a little bit better. So it'll be interesting to see if he can maybe get some of that from Fekir and Aouar. I think I'm going to remove Depay because I don't see him getting a great deal of benefit. We do also have a setup here for our defenders, but a lot of our kind of really hot prospect young defenders are out on loan, so we probably don't need that group right now. I like the mentoring system this year in FM, but I don't love it. It just feels a little bit, I don't want to say convoluted, that's not the right word, but it'd just be nice if you had a better idea of exactly what's going to be passed on between players. And if it was all laid out in that drop-down menu. So, for example, when you're... I don't know if anyone from Sports Interactive's watching, but I might as well just point out what I'd like changed. Basically, when you hit Add Player here, you have the personality, which is great. It'd be good to be able to see like the squad status, their social group, and their hierarchy. You know, just because you have this stuff listed here, so clearly it's important when it comes to selecting players, but you just don't see it in the drop-down, and the quickest way to actually see some of that information is just to add them in and then remove them if they don't quite fit. It just feels a little bit backwards, I guess, but I think one thing that's important to kind of consider is the fact that with Football Manager, they add new stuff to the game, like the new tactics widget stuff, you know, the preset tactics, which I think is just one of the best additions in recent years. I think it makes the game a lot more accessible. But I feel like what usually happens is stuff gets added to Football Manager, and then it takes a year or two for it to get really refined and perfected, which I don't necessarily mind. You know, every time something new's added, you're kind of a bit like, you know, give it a year or two, it's going to be a lot better. And I feel like we've seen that with various features through the years, so I'm not too concerned. Anyway, we've got Dijon here. Let's focus back onto this, because this is huge for us. Bertrand Traoré, not really 100% fit, lacking match fitness. Recommended to play 45 minutes. Toussaint also coming back. He apparently can play the full game. His match fitness is a teeny tiny bit of a concern for me, but we'll start him. Lucas Romero could very easily come on in that position. So we're just about at full strength here. Just about. Do I want to play Moise Kean? How did Gabels do last game against PSG? 6.4. I mean, it was against PSG. You know what? Bertrand Traore, I'm going to make you available for the reserves until match fit, just to try and get him back into things, because that match sharpness is really, really low, like uncomfortably low. And in his place, we'll play Moise Kean, I think, on the bench. I do feel a little bit of pressure to play Moise Kean on the bench along with Gabels and Martinez. Might seem a little bit odd because they're three strikers vying for one position. Worth noting that, you know, Gabels can play left and right attacking mid, and Moise Kean and Martinez can play left inside forward if they need to. You know, we've got a little bit of versatility there. But it still feels a little bit odd having three strikers three players who are naturally strikers on the bench for that single striker position. But I feel like we will get, you know, a little bit of experimentation as we go through the year. Anyway, we're going to look to bounce back from that PSG defeat well. And, well, did that go over the line? I don't know. Apparently not. Oh, my gosh. I mean, it was very close to going over the line. I think that Wallace fouled the keeper immediately afterwards. But, well, that's a reasonably positive start, I guess, to have the opening highlight as good as that one. But a goal would have been better. They have got Marin, our player, playing against us, out on the left-hand side. So we'll keep an eye out for him today. I mean, there he is on the ball, losing it. Agent Marin doing the business. Fekir bringing the ball forward. PSG winning. So, given the fact we slipped up against Lille, we really need to win this game. Oh, my gosh. Gabels, maybe? Fekir? Third time's lucky. There it is. I just felt like it was going to go in. I was saying it was third time lucky before he had the third shot. But yes, we have just pummeled their goal with a number of shots in quick succession. Eventually, it's found its way free. Fekir drifts inside. One effort blocked. Two effort blocked. Gabels has a tackle on him. Falls to Fekir kindly. Third time is the charm. We break the deadlock. So just as a reminder, right now in the league, we are 3 points ahead of PSG with a game in hand and significantly better goal difference. But, you know, we have still got to play them again this year, which is going to be obviously huge for us. Will be very interesting to see how things play out there. But in the title race right now, we kind of have control. Trincao whips in. Gabels is there. Second goal for him of the season. Ignore the 8 goals. I don't know what that's all about. I asked you guys on yesterday's video to predict the goal tallies for the season. I saw a few people who said he'd get 2 goals. I really want to believe that from now until the end of the year, he's going to do more than not score ever again. But, well, a lovely little stooping header. Didn't even have to jump for it. Trincao with the assist. The next generation of Lyon players linking up there. Brings a tear to your eye. 2-0 up now. Gabels latching onto this ball. What can you do? It's Gabels, Jack, not Gabels. He's not French. Memphis whips it in. Trincao's there, just wide of the post. It's another ball whipped into the box there. Unfortunately, Trincao not known for his aerial prowess. He's not the greatest header of the ball. Set piece here. Fekir whips it back post. Headed clear. And Dembele wins it though. Lenglet. Go back wide to Fekir. Go back. Fekir's drifting inside. He goes to Fekir anyway. Back with Lenglet. Toussaint. Options on ahead. Players queuing up. Toussaint has a go. Oh my gosh. I mean, I can't knock him for having a go from there, can I really? Not a bad effort at all. He's scored a few this year from that kind of range, so I'm not going to be too hard on him for even giving it a go there. I do feel like Toussaint is a bit of the golden boy here. I kind of feel like I let him get away with a bit too much. You know, he's my child who can do no wrong. Talks all the bad players out of forcing out moves whenever we get him to talk with them. He's an influencer. He's like our inside man, really. I mean, Lopez didn't need to save that, did he? Free kick going wide of the post. He decided to do a save for the cameras, I guess. It was low. It was hard. Completely unnecessary, but hey, we'll take it. Ball whipped in here. Toussaint doesn't quite get on the end of it, and then the header eventually goes wide. Can we build something from the back here? Lopez wide to Tete. Bringing it forward now with Fekir. Ndombele. What can we do? Trincao. Bringing it forward. Switches the play nicely. Mendy. Lovely overlapping run. Gabels is there. He scores again. He's got 3. He's got 3 for the season. I mean, I'm delighted. He's on for a hat-trick. £25 million. Monaco weren't giving him a chance in the first team. Trincao involved in the build-up play. Ferland Mendy on this left-hand side. Crosses it in. Gabels. It doesn't matter. Dijon smells. And then etc. The Jingle Bells song parody. What was that? It's like Jingle Bells. Jebel scores. That doesn't work. Right, let's move on. Let's move on. I'm not musically inclined, in case that wasn't obvious. Let's make a change. Moise Keane, you can come on for Memphis. Awar, come on for Fekir. And Toussaint, I'm not going to risk an injury to you. Lucas Romero, come on. We'll go with a triple change with 15 minutes left. We're still looking for Moise Keane to make a difference. Marin, our own player, drifting inside, has a go. I mean, it looked pretty good until the shooting bit, didn't it? Triple change going on here. I mean, can Moise Keane score? I'm almost tempted to go very attacking to try and get Jebel's a hat-trick or Moise Keane. Or Moise Keane a goal. At least one of our big kind of transfers is coming off for us. There was the one that the board made, which was Moise Keane for £33.5 million. And then Jebel's for 25, which was my deal. But we actually got 5 million of it back. Oh my gosh, Moise Keane, what an effort. I mean, I'm not even going to knock him for that. Nice little run. Finish off the woodwork. Denied him his first goal. It's kind of mental when you think about the Jebel's deal, because we've signed him for 20 million, essentially. Trincao, free kick. Oh my god. I mean, he bent it like Beckham. Unfortunately, didn't quite bend enough. But, yeah, as I was saying, Jebel's, I know it's technically 25 million, but of course we got 5 million back as part of the sell-on clause that we had for him. I'd be curious for you guys to let me know what you think of the transfer business we've done this year. Mostly, I guess, the signings of Moise Keane and Jebel's for essentially less than what we sold Dembele for. Obviously, it's still very early days, but it's looking good for us. Moise Keane, I never would have paid £33 million for, as you guys know. But I feel like, actually, when you look at our transfer dealings for this year, it's been pretty good. Ignore the loan outs, because that's kind of a bit silly. But in terms of the fees we've received, Marcel, Monti, Ferry, and Dembele, for a total of £73 million. Our net spend this year has been £16 million, which I really don't feel like is that bad, considering how much of this is investment for the future as well. You know, you've got to consider Lenglet's had a great role in the first team so far. I know he's declined a lot recently. I'm not sure what that's all about, but his average rating's just top-notch. Jebel's 3 goals in 3 games. I'm happy. I mean, we can praise him for that last game, I think. He was superb in front of goal. Maybe we found the goal scorer we've been lacking for a season and a half. Moise Keane, early days for him still, but he looks like he's got the potential to be a class player. Loads and loads of potential. I feel like between him and Jebel's, we're going to be top-notch, to be honest. Markovic didn't have the best game for Auxerre, neither did Gravenberch. I did actually notice with Gravenberch, yeah, look how much he's improved. He's 17. 17 at centre mid. The only issue I've got with him is he's quite inconsistent, or at least he was. I mean, maybe he's the most consistent player in the world now. But Markovic here looks like he could be potentially ready to come back into the first team next year, at least as a backup. Shadas got a goal for Nîmes in a draw against Lille. That's a massive result for them. Lille are 3rd in the league. Nîmes, by comparison, in a relegation battle. Seems like Shadas has been one of their standout performers. Also does mean that Lille, who are in 3rd, drop off us a little bit. You can see that's their... It's not their first loss of the year. Oh, it was a draw. Of course it was a draw. It was 1-1 against Nîmes. But they're now 6 points behind us. Although they've still got a game in hand on PSG, which could be interesting. You can see here, Marin playing against us didn't have the best of games. Whilst I remember, we should probably get match reports on Terrier. I feel like Terrier still could have a role to play in the first team, but at the same time, if he had a very good half a season at Lille, I might be tempted to sell him. I know that might be controversial with some of you guys, but I just feel like he's been a good player for us, but he's not been a great player, at least in the last 12 months. You know, when we first came, he was, you know, top draw. More recently, he's been a little bit disappointing. And we do just have so much young attacking talent. It's crazy. Georgialin is upset that I've not tried to sell him. Mate, I literally offered you out for nothing. No one wanted you. Don't know what to tell you. Normally in this situation, I'd terminate his contract, but I don't want to do that just because he's homegrown at club and I need homegrown players. Good to see, though, Fekir just continuing to improve. He is happy to stay at the club, which is good news as well. He has, I mean, how long has he got left on his current deal? He's got 3.5 years left on his current deal. Probably not worth offering him a new contract just yet. He was a player who, of course, we gave a new contract to pretty soon after we joined. Our next game's an interesting one. It's against Troyes, who are in the league below us. We've actually got a lot of suspensions, but I don't think that's going to be too terrible. Just because I think with this game, with it being against Troyes, who are 8th in the league below us, we are just going to play a very, very, very rotated 11 here. So I'm pretty much going to select all the players except the players who I might want to play. And I'm going to just tell them to rest for a day. And I guess it's the same for some of these players here. Actually, no, we'll keep those in. So if we rotate our 11 here, so what I'd like to do when I need to pick a rotated 11 is I'll rest the players who I want to rotate just for one day, then ask the assistant to pick, and he'll pick the best team from what's left, and then I can kind of tweak it from there. Could be a good opportunity for Bertrand Traoré to get some fitness back. I'm not going to play Rashford here. I'm going to play Moise Kean out on the left-hand side. I think we'll stick with Gabels up top, despite the fact this is another game in quick succession. Just feel like it's worth continuing to build his confidence. Can Moise Kean play naturally on the left? He can actually, so that works for us. Good to see him improving a little bit as well this week in training. I will play Trincao ahead of Traoré. I mean, look how good the youth of this team is. That's the most exciting thing I think about being here at Lille right now, is we have just such a very young team. I'm going to give Rajkovic a game actually as well at centre-back. Not centre-back, in goal rather. Also just sort out our bench here. We don't need 3 goalkeepers on the bench, funnily enough. We can have the likes of Fekir and Depay on the bench if we're struggling in this game, if somehow we can't seem to break through. Those are players we can call upon. I hope these players are all just suspended for one game, because it'd actually be a great game for them to be suspended for, assuming it's kind of a French domestic suspension. We'll have to monitor Trincao's fitness going into this game against Troyes, just because it is a little bit low. I might have to play Bertrand Traoré, despite his lack of match sharpness, out on the right-hand side. I mean, I'm very happy with how things are going right now. Papa Cech is happy that we tried to sell him. I mean, I really did try as well, mate. I hope you know that, deep down in your heart. I wanted to get rid of you, and I couldn't. I'm still annoyed about Vinicius Jr. I'm not going to get over it. I'm sorry, everyone. I don't think I can let it go. Right, so we can register some players for the Champions League. Obviously, we've had a few players leave. We still have Lopez and Jorgelin registered in terms of goalkeepers. Aouar doesn't need to be registered. Trincao could be registered. Moise Kean. Gabels classifies as under 21, so doesn't need to be. So it'd just be Rajkovic and Pereira who aren't registered. I do need Jorgelin because he's homegrown at club. I mean, the good news is that Gabels doesn't need to be registered, and neither does Aouar. So besides the goalkeeper situation, we can pretty much have the entirety of our first team registered. I'm a little bit worried that Rajkovic and Pereira are going to kick up a fuss about the fact they weren't included, but the reality is that 2 goalkeepers should be good enough, you'd hope, to kind of cover us. So yeah, Trincao here, 80% condition. That's not quite good enough for me. Oh wait, no, that's Olmo. That's Olmo. Trincao's up to 92. That's fine. I can live with that. I mean, look how exciting this young team is. Like, I can't wait to see this team develop in the next few years. Especially in the final third. We've got such great attacking talent, to the point where if you were to get bids for the likes of Depay, Dembele... Oh, not Dembele. He's already gone, Jack. But, you know, the likes of Depay, Traoré, I probably would just let them go, because I feel like we've got the young players to step up and replace them. I was a little less keen to do that in January, as I am with any deal. Ultimately, I think on the Dembele deal, the money was just too good to refuse. But most of the time, I'm very, very kind of anti-selling players in January, particularly with how well we're doing in the league. There's no point in us making these unnecessary changes, selling players, changing the tactics, as some of you guys have suggested. We're top of Ligue 1. We're not expected to be there. We're 3 points clear with a game in hand. I mean, the reality is there's no point in changing anything or risking upsetting and kind of rocking the ship with our current performances and position. It just doesn't really make sense. Anyway, let's focus on this game. It's the French Cup. We're taking on Troyes. They're a team in the league below us, so even with this rotated 11, we should be beating them comfortably. I feel like this is a rotated 11 that should be good enough to beat most teams in our own division comfortably. They are playing a 5 at the back system, so they're probably going to be looking to defend well and then just create that one clear opportunity, which they have just done through Kevin Fortuné, which is a little bit concerning. This, of course, a competition we did crash out of last year at an early stage as well. If I'm not mistaken, it was on penalties. I don't want to do that again, but not ideal. Rajkovic in goal. Could he have done better? I mean, it was a tricky one for him, but I mean, it is his debut, so he's going to be under the microscope. You know, we're going to be analysing each and every little thing that he does, but that is not the ideal start to this game. We have been massively on top. Let's just try and create some opportunities. Ball whipped in here. Trincao can't get there. Falls to Lucas Romero. Switch it to the right back. He does. Kenny Lala's there, back in the team. It's been a while. Whips it across. Moise Keane was the player he was looking to reach. Didn't quite get there. It's back with Glenn Kamara, though. Switches it to Alberto Moreno. Drifts inside. Passes it deep and long. All the way to Trincao. Now back with Romero. What can we craft out here? Trincao. Switching the play, it's patient probing play. Where is the end product? Romero, oh my gosh, it was not far wide of the mark, was it? It was bending. He set a precedent, I feel like, after the goal last game that I'm expecting a screamer from him. Unfortunately, couldn't find the target there. Although he's got the ball again here. That isn't a shot, that is a cross. Trincao now with it, crosses it. Moise Keane, have a go, Moise Keane. There you go. That is his first goal for the club. Yes, it's not a league goal, but maybe that can set him on his way. Trincao again with another assist. I mean, he has been top draw this year. Bertrand Traore is going to be worried about his long-term future at the club, I think, with how well Francisco is doing out on that right-hand side. Ball switch in, Moise Keane scores it. It's expected that we score a few and beat Troyes here quite comfortably. Oh my god, Romero's just murdered a man. We're down to 10 men. What can we... Oh my god, I don't even know what to... I mean, what was it? What was that? Is probably the best way to describe what we've just seen. Okay, we've got to be a little bit more conservative now, I think, with our centre mids. I'm still going to play attacking and positively, but we are going to be committing less men into the attack. How do I want to change things here? I don't have great options at centre mid. I guess we'll bring in Fekir to play deep line playmaker. Can Olmo even play centre mid? He can kind of play centre mid, and as a deep line playmaker, he has most of the attributes to play there. So you know what, Olmo, you're staying on the pitch, my son. Oh, Lucas Romero, he literally murdered a man on the pitch there. It was an awful tackle. I knew immediately as well. In 3D, you know when it's a bad tackle. It just looks awful. That was one of those. I'm getting major deja vu. Was it the French Cup last year? And I want to check this. I feel like in the French Cup last year, in the game we got knocked out in, we might have had a sending off. I now want to check. It was a defeat to Dijon on penalties. Yeah, we did. Terrier got sent off in that game. I mean, we've been here before. Now, granted, Troyes are probably a little weaker than Dijon are. But it's still not going to be an easy one. Oh, what is it with our players getting sent off unnecessarily in the first half of this competition? Worth noting, Troyes still only had the one shot on target that they scored from. In fact, it's been their only shot all game. So despite the fact we are a man down, we're looking like we probably are going to win this. I don't want to jinx it, but we are on the front foot here. Lala's there, whips it in. Keane's there again. Moise Keane, he makes me moist. That's terrible, Jack. I don't really know what to follow that up with. It's a great goal. Kenny Lala with the assist. It's his second of the season. We'll take it. Trincao. Lovely ball down the line. First time cross. Moise Keane. Towering header. I mean, all the youngsters are getting in on the goals. Moise Keane's got 2 today. Gabel's got 2 the previous game. I mean, hashtag who is Dembele? Whenever one of the younger players performs well, I've noticed that I come up with a hashtag which is just who is insert player who we have a young player performing better than at the moment. Gabels, can you finish it? Could it be 4 and 4? Rebound! I mean, he fluffed it the first time of asking, but we'll take that. 3-1. You'd never know we were a man down. And it's the young kids they're all right, aren't they? The youngsters, the young kid, they're doing okay. Moreno with the ball here. It's Jabel's 4th goal in 4 games for us. It's not the most pretty. It's not going to be a classic. It's a lot of kind of good fortune to see the ball fall to us there. But hey, we're not going to complain. I mean, I feel a little bit bad for Troyes. You'd imagine after we get a player sent off, they think that the giant killing is on the cards. But at least so far here, we've been just immense. Glenn Kamara to Lala. Surely not again. Whips in. Jabel's is there. I mean, Jingle Gabels. Troyes smells. Moiskin got a brace. In your face. Okay, I'm not a lyrical MC. I should have stopped after the first time. Today's been one of those episodes where it's Saturday morning. Usually I'm recording episodes at the end of the day. I'm not as full of beans. I'm recording this Saturday morning to go up some point on Saturday. Whenever you're watching this, obviously it's made its way online. But as a result, I'm feeling just a little bit hyper. Olmo. I mean, all the young uns are getting in on it. It's 5-1. We've almost performed better since we had a player sent off, which I don't know if I should be concerned about. Lovely effort, though, by Olmo. Over the wall, into the top bins. 10 minutes left. I'll tell you what, let's bring in Bertrand Traoré for Trincao. Olmo's a little bit tired, bless him. We'll bring in Fekir for him. Joseph Martinez. I don't really want to take off Moiskin or Gabels because they're on for hat-tricks. So we'll keep them on, despite the fact Moiskin is, like, very, very tired. I think he's on 69% condition. Naturally, our inside forwards in this system, having gone down to 10 men, have a lot more ground to cover, but cover it they are. I mean, Moiskin, can you get it into Jabel to the hat-trick? He doesn't beat his man at the first time of asking. And then Moiskin just kind of stopped and had an existential crisis on the pitch. Trincao, what can you do? Goes to Kamara. I mean, this feels like it's the pointless highlight. It feels like it's the pointless highlight. Is it the pointless highlight? We're about to find out as tactical changes are made. Indeed it is. I mean, what a performance that is. 5-1. Down a man for the best part of an hour as well. But again, that you expect us to win, but I feel like the nature of the win and also the goal scorers is just great news for us going forward. I'm hoping that the form that we've seen today from Gabels and the form we've seen from this match specifically from Moiskin is going to translate into league form. It does also raise the question of should Moiskin be deployed more as an inside forward potentially. Food for thought, certainly, but wow, terrific win there against Troyes. Not going to complain about that one little bit. Very, very happy, boys. And that is a good way to hopefully kickstart some momentum. A few of our players out on loan play. DJ got a goal. That is very, very good for him. Obviously, first goal during his loan spell. Hopefully, the first of many. Gravenberch played okay, as did Markovic. Marin played 90 minutes, which is good to see. Kanate, coming back from injury, had a good game in a game that you'd expect him to have a good game in, but he has been out for a few weeks with those pulled ankle ligaments. And before that, a pulled groin. So hopefully he can stay fit. Jabels was given man of the match. You were superb, my friend. I also want to go and praise Moiskin. Moise, where are you? Again, last game, superb in front of goal. More of the same, please, my child. I mean, I am very, very excited now to see how our forward line can develop in the coming years. Because if this episode's been a taster of what's to come, it's going to be a good time here at Lyon for the foreseeable future. Anyway, guys, I'm going to wrap up today's episode here. Obviously, over an hour long, as always. And I want to try and keep the episode smaller, but this one was a lot of talky stuff between games. And obviously, the January transfer window was very much in full swing. Next episode, we're going to be shifting our focus back onto matches coming thick and fast. Next episode, Marseille and Liverpool, 2 big standout games. Going to be massive fixtures for us that hopefully we can get good performances in. And a few other games like Rennes and Nantes we will probably get to as well. But anyway, that's going to be all from me today. I do hope you've enjoyed the episode. If you have, do drop a like on it. There might not be an episode tomorrow, just as a little bit of a heads up. I might take a day off tomorrow. I'll see how I'm going. But regardless, really have been appreciating and loving the support on this series, and you guys seem to be loving it too. I hope it really shines through in the videos just how much I am enjoying this save right now. I look forward to sitting down every day and playing it. And, well, it's just all kind of coming together in such a fantastic little way here at Lyon. Anyway, guys, that's going to be all from me. I will catch you guys again soon. And, well, yeah, hopefully I see you on the next one. It is me, Jack, and I will talk to you guys in a bit. I'm out.